If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa.
My dear ones, my beloved, welcome back to the Nissim Black Show. All of you, it's just always such a pleasure to be here. This has become the highlight of my day, to come and talk with you. At least one of the highlights of my day. Obviously, I got a wife, I got kids, I got God, I have things, and we have Marco Rubio. Ladies and gentlemen, my favorite guy. He's for sure my favorite guy from all the Trump picks. There's something about him. There's a what we say in Hebrew. There's a chen, there's a grace with Marco Rubio, and I really like his approach. He's not a very aggressive person, but he gets his point across and he stands on principle. I even see sometimes where he may be pushed in one way from the from Trump, the commander in chief himself, and he'll do his job, but he doesn't bend. It's almost like something about him where he just stands on his principle, and that's why I appreciate him. He has been recently being accosted by all of these journalists and even in the Senate and all these other places where he's had to go to defend common sense. What's the common sense we're talking about? What have we been talking about? Immigration, ladies and gentlemen. Immigration. It's a major problem. And we're seeing that not having the proper stance on this can lead to things like, unfortunately, what just happened in D.C. And rest in peace to those two National Guards who lost their life, and their families should have comfort. But when you don't tighten these loose nuggets in the places that they really need to be tightened, instead you allow yourself to be weak and soft and to give over, like I've talked about before, this love without boundaries, and unfortunately you're bound to be hurt and to have heartache. I want you to hear what Marco Rubio said when he was questioned about these visas.
It's an F1 visa, I believe. We revoked it, and here's why. And I'll say it again. I said it everywhere. Let me be abundantly clear, okay? If you go apply for a visa right now, anywhere in the world, let me just send this message out. If you apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student, and you tell us that the reason why you're coming to the United States is not just because you want to write op-eds, but because you want to participate in movements that are involved in doing things like vandalizing universities, harassing students, taking over buildings, creating a ruckus, we're not going to give you a visa. If you lie to us and get a visa and then enter the United States and with that visa participate in that sort of activity, we're going to take away your visa. And once you've lost your visa, you're no longer legally in the United States, and we have a right, like every country in the world has a right, to remove you from our country.
Common sense. Common sense.
So it's just that simple. I think it's crazy. I think it's stupid for any country in the world to welcome people into their country that are going to go to your universities as visitors. They're visitors. And say, I'm going to your universities to start a riot. I'm going to your universities to take over a library and harass people. I don't care what movement you're involved in. Why would any country in the world allow people to come and disrupt? Now, we gave you a visa to come and study and get a degree, not to become a social activist that tears up our university campuses.
That's not why you got your visa, ladies and gentlemen. Contrary to popular behavior, unfortunately. And I get a visa to come here and destroy the campuses of college. You may have thought that's the reason why you got your visa, but that's not the reason why it was issued to you. And there's nothing wrong with this. There's just nothing. There's nothing racist about it. There's nothing, demeaning about it. This is the law, and this is what it should be.
And if we've given you a visa and then you decide to do that, we're going to take it away. I encourage every country to do that, by the way, because I think it's crazy to invite students into your country that are coming onto your campus and destabilizing it. We're just not going to have it. So we'll revoke your visa, and once your visa is revoked, you're illegally in the country and you have to leave. Every country in the world has a right to decide who comes in as a visitor and who doesn't. If you invite me into your home because you say, I want to come to your house for dinner, and I go to your house and I start putting mud on your couch and spray painting your kitchen, I bet you're going to kick me out. Well, we're going to do the same thing if you come into the United States as a visitor and create a ruckus for us. We don't want it. We don't want it in our country. Go back and do it in your country. But you're not going to do it in our country.
But you're not going to do it here. And that's just common sense. And they, the thing is, they use every ploy and every plot, every way to try to, make this an issue about race or this or that, or free speech. This is the one thing that everybody's, free speech. Listen, It is not free speech. If you come here and you are speaking or saying things or speaking against the country that just gave you a visa and an opportunity, probably out of the HELL hole that you just left, to come and be here, right? Because if it was so great, why'd you come here in the first place? Talking about the United States. So why would you come? And then you come in, you speak and write, publish articles and stand outside, chant and create havoc in the country. Why did you come here for? That's what you came here for? Absolutely. Why would you get a visa? And then say, "Oh, it was because of free speech." I mean, some of these things, ladies and gentlemen, you just can't make them up. You can't make them up. Marco Rubio. Wait, before you get back to the show, I just want to let you know that we have launched Nissim Black Store. All you have to do is go online, order yourself one of these amazing mugs, God is King, with a matching t-shirt. We have a whole plethora of different shirts that are all about representing God wherever you go. As believers in the one true God of Israel, it is our duty not to hide, not to back down, not to shy away from expressing our faith wherever it is that we go. If you want to go and walk righteously before your God with a nice t-shirt, with a nice sweater, with a mug that's reminding us constantly that God is here with us, go to nissimblack.store and make sure you get yourself some merch. It really helps support this channel and everything that we're doing and everything that we plan to do. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. I thank you all for all of your support. Okay, back to the show.
Appealed to a lot of Americans during his campaign on free speech arguments and not suppressing speech, especially from the government. But your revocation of the green card, to many, is seen as one of the most anti-speech actions a secretary could take with his powers. How do you respond?
Anti-speech.
When you enter this is an important point, and I'm glad you asked this question. When you come to the United States as a visitor, which is what a visa is, which is how this individual entered this country, as on a visitor's visa, okay, you are here as a visitor. We can deny you that visa. We can deny you that if you tell us when you apply, "Hi, I'm trying to get into the United States on a student visa. I am a big supporter of Hamas, a murderous, barbaric group that kidnaps children, that rapes teenage girls, that takes hostages, that allows them to die in captivity, that returns more bodies than live hostages." If you tell us that you are in favor of a group like this, and if you tell us when you apply for your visa, and by the way, I intend to come to your country as a student and rile up all kinds of anti-Jewish student, anti-Semitic activities, I intend to shut down your universities. If you told us all these things when you applied for a visa, we would deny your visa. I hope we would.
I hope. He says, I hope. He hopes that they would, right? And that's the truth. It's like, during the last administration, maybe they were letting people in under those guys. You could probably wear a t-shirt with all that on there and they would have still let you into the country. But with this administration, they're not having it. They're not having it. There's common sense going on over here. I'm so happy that he's saying this. I mean, some of these things, they're very telling in themselves. We don't really have to commentate on it, but sometimes we need to be reminded that you are not crazy. You are not, if your way of thinking is aligned with Marco Rubio's here, you are not the crazy one.
You actually end up doing that once you're in this country on such a visa, we will revoke it. And if you end up having a green card, not citizenship, but a green card as a result of that visa while you're here in those activities, we're going to kick you out. It's as simple as that. This is not about free speech. This is about people that don't have a right to be in the United States to begin with. No one has a right to a student visa. No one has a right to a green card, by the way. So when you apply for a student visa or any visa to enter the United States, we have a right to deny you for virtually any reason. But I think being a supporter of Hamas and coming into our universities and turning them upside down and being complicit in what are clearly crimes of vandalization, complicit in shutting down learning institutions. There are kids at these schools that can't go to class. You pay all this money to these high-priced schools that are supposed to be of great esteem, and you can't even go to class. You're afraid to go to class because these lunatics are running around with covers on their face, screaming terrifying things. If you told us that's what you intended to do when you came to America, we would have never let you in. And if you do it once you get in, we're going to revoke it and kick you out.
I don't know what else needs to be said about that. I don't even understand why they keep bringing it up. I know why they keep bringing it up because there's a lack of there's certain places where certain plants can't grow, certain vegetables can't grow because the climate is not conducive to the right nutrients and ingredients and temperature and air and whatever it is, right? So certain type of plants can't grow in certain areas, and so common sense can't be nurtured by some people. They have been whacked over the head with all the Qatari money that's been going into the education system over the last, I don't know, however many years. How long they've been infiltrating on Hollywood and all these things they've been. That's the real conspiracy. They're going crazy. All the Jews, Israel, do all this and other stuff. It's been proven. It's out there. You know, go look it up yourself. Right, the amount of money that's been coming in from anti-American countries, meaning that they are against the Western civilization, the ideology here of America, been pouring in from lobbying side, from the Hollywood side, from the education side, that has come in and brought, you know, all of this wokeism. Not that they believe in it, but it's a great sponsorship, because the moment that they could turn men into, you know, sissies, right? And critical race theory and transgenderism. Let's get you thinking about everything except for the betterment of your country and the betterment and the fulfillment of values and family, all the things that build a very strong country. They sponsored all this money to do that. So now you have individuals that cannot become fertile ground for common sense. So these things sound very, very wild for him. Marco Rubio also had to speak before Congress, I believe, also on the same thing. I have another clip here.
March 21st, 2025, the State Department approved the revocation of a student visa for Rumeysa Öztürk, a Turkish citizen who is a graduate student at Tufts University, apparently simply for writing an op-ed. According to an internal State Department memo, you took this action under your discretionary authority to revoke visas, and soon after you revoked her visa, armed and masked plainclothes officers snatched Ms. Öztürk off the street and transported her to a prison in Louisiana. Mr. Secretary, do you really think that Ms. Öztürk's op-ed results in a foreign policy consequence for the United States?
I believe that case involves someone whose visa we never would have granted had we known ahead of time.
I'm not asking you that question. I'm asking you if you think an op-ed, but that's exactly, in fact, what happened. The State Department wrote a memo concluding that you did not have sufficient grounds to revoke Ms. Öztürk's visa. There was no evidence showing that she'd engaged in any activities or a threat to national security. And in fact, in May, a federal court ordered Ms. Öztürk's release from detention, noting that the sole basis for the government's detention appeared to be the fact that she co-authored this opinion piece in the Tufts newspaper in March of 2024. Where in the Constitution does it say that the Secretary of State can override the First Amendment protections of free speech? Is there a footnote that I missed somewhere?
There's no constitutional right to a student visa.
The way that they word things, but I guess that's what it's for. Free speech. And I'm sure if you've seen the op-ed, I don't even have it here. I wish we had. I don't know why my team didn't send it to me, but I don't have the op-ed. But I'm sure it was. If it was only that, then trust me, it was worth it.
But is there a constitutional right? Does it say somewhere that Marco Rubio gets to determine which speech is appropriate and revoke student visas based on what you think constitutes free speech?
There's a statute that says the Secretary of State gets to determine whether someone is a threat. We deny visas every day all over the world.
Do you think that the Immigration and Nationality Act trumps the Constitution of the United States, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Congress can always change the law if you want, but I'm telling you,
Mr.
while I have the authority, I will continue to revoke the visas of these people that come here to tear this country apart.
You said that, Mr. Secretary. Let me reclaim my time, because you are talking about revoking student visas based on what somebody says, and that means that you are trumping the legal supreme.
Words are enough for me, right? Words are enough for me. I mean, we're living in a time where people will hear people say, "Globalize the Intifada," and you know, presidents of universities would tell, "Oh, that falls under free speech," even though that literally means kill Jews all over the world. That's literally what that means. So it's free speech. We are not in a place where we know. And death to America, death to Israel. Free speech.
The supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution of the United States.
No one has a right to a student visa.
Mr. Rubio, why did the administration need to use masked, armed, unidentified agents to whisk somebody off the street and deny her counsel for almost 24 hours after her arrest?
Well, you'll have to ask the agencies that did that work. I'm not responsible for That I'm responsible for
but-
revoking the visas of these people that come
Secretary
to tear this country
Rubio,
apart.
I'm talking
Never
about
should have
this
allowed him in.
particular case where you revoked the student visa of a Turkish citizen who was a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that you didn't like. And suddenly you allowed for masked men to whisk her off the street. And you have multiple jobs, apparently. You're the national security advisor as well. So don't tell me it's not your job who snatches her off the street.
We don't do
If
the
these
snatching,
are
but I can tell you we
legitimate-
do the visa
Let
revocations,
me ask
and we're
you
going to
about
keep
the
doing them.
national security consequences of people.
We're gonna keep doing them. Not phased, totally unfazed. That's why I like him. He's just calm. He's not. We're gonna keep doing it, guys.
Masked men on the streets snatching people off the streets. If these are legitimate law enforcement agents carrying out proper arrests, why are they hiding their identities?
Because then radical crazies will try to hurt them.
So
Because
you
we
so
know
you
when we've
think that
seen-
U.S. agents who have almost always gone without face coverings, even when they're arresting
I
some
can't
of the
speak
most
to law
some of
enforcement
the
functions. We're
country's
not a law
most
enforcement
dangerous
agency.
criminals, suddenly have so much to fear from a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that they need to be masked?
Again,
Is that
law
accurate?
student was a guest in the United States on a student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa.
So
We
you
deny
revoked her
visas every
student
day,
visa
and we will
on
revoke and
based
continue
on
to
an
revoke
op-ed,
visas.
which trumps the Supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution.
Someone's coming up
You
here to stir
clearly-
up problems on our campus. We're going to revoke their visa.
She didn't
They're
do any of
guests.
that. She wrote an op-ed.
Well,
She
that's
wrote
what
an
you
op-ed,
claim.
and I'm talking to you about her
That's her
particular
lawyer's
case.
claims and your
you
claims. Those are not the facts.
You reclaiming my time. You revoked her student visa
Yes,
because
proudly.
she wrote an op-ed.
And
Would
we'll
you
do more. We're
revoke?
gonna do more of
I
them.
have another question for you. Would you revoke the visa of someone in the United States who published claims that quote Jews are an untrustworthy and dangerous group? Yes or no?
We will revoke the visa of anyone who's in this country as a guest
Are
who's
you
here to stir up
going to
trouble.
revoke the visa of somebody who made
Send me
that?
the case,
that,
I'll look at it.
that
I'm looking-
statement?
I'm looking to
Well,
get crazy people out of
actually,
our
it's not
country.
just about revoking.
Forward
You
to
actually,
revoking the
Secretary
visas of any
Rubio,
lunatics you
excuse
can
me,
identify.
reclaiming my time. Can you explain to me why the Trump administration granted refugee status to Charles Kleinhaus, the white Afrikaner who tweeted that exact statement that I just said? There's the case.
That's not a visa.
You granted that person
That's
to
a
enter the
totally
United
different process.
States.
That's someone that applied here through a totally different process.
Secretary Rubio,
student visas are a privilege.
Secretary
we deny
Rubio,
them all the time,
you
and we'll revoke them.
revoked
And
a visa based on an op-ed, and then you allowed for
Gentlelady's time
masked
has
men
expired.
to
That's your
snatch
claim. That's
somebody off
accurate. That's
the
your claim.
street.
Your time
That's
is
That's your claim.
That's your claim. That's your claim. Listen, the truth of the matter is, I mean, you let me know. You guys all let me know if free speech is inhibited. Like, I don't understand how much that even extends to people who are here temporarily on visas in the first place. And I'm not saying the First Amendment rights to, who is it, to citizens? I don't know. I'm not that educated. I want you to educate me. Please leave a comment down there. Was it okay for him to do that? If it was just an op-ed, right? Now, you and I both know that if a person is writing things, they are inciting things. An op-ed, especially in today's day, is not just like, oh, I just wrote something or whatever the case is. And as he said there, that there were other things, but anyway, they're going to make it and focus and zero in on an op-ed and say, oh, it's under the guise of free speech, as if they are the ones that be talking about free speech. We remember what happened 2020. You guys let me know. Leave a comment. Make sure you like, that you subscribe, that you are following, that you hit the notification bell so we can always, not spam you, but we want you to always be here with us because I enjoy being here with you. And remember, serve God, but to live trying. I'm out. I don't have to tell you that in our fast-paced lives, we rarely stop to just breathe, to reconnect ourselves with Hashem and with our purpose. And that's why I'm really excited to tell you about Kavana, an incredible new app that helps bring mindfulness and Jewish spirituality into everyday life. It's filled with guided meditations, music, sleep stories, quick 1-minute pauses, and daily inspiration, all designed to help you live with more Kavana, with more intention, more presence, and more meaning. And right here on the Kavana app, I'll be releasing a brand new guided Heat Bodhidut series, a powerful journey into personal prayer and connection with the Creator. So go download the Kavana app today, sign up, and join me for the course.